It was in almost perfect condition. It just couldn't be used or driven on the roads. So I've always been interested in left-hand drive vehicles, and all of them are over the age of 25, because in Australia, depending on which state you're in, it's either 25 or 30 years old before you can register a left-hand drive vehicle. But I saw on Marketplace, as usual, I'm browsing and I see this left-hand drive Mitsubishi Diamante that's only the year 2000. And I'm thinking, how is that still here? Why is it here? And what is the deal with it? I've seen it float around on different Facebook pages, and it's been, I think, transferred between many different people. No one has any idea what to do with it, because essentially, because it is under the age required to be registered, that it's just a paperweight, essentially. I saw it and I'm like, you know what? It's a silly car. I'm going to purchase the silly car. So I've messaged the person and I said, hey, what's the deal with this? And he says, look, I don't know what to do with it. It's been sitting here. It's sat at the last person's house. It's sat at the person's before that house. And we don't know what to do with it. So it's for sale. And I said, okay, well, the price you have on it is a bit too high for what I'd like to pay for it. And at the time I had a 2000 Olympic edition VT Commodore that I acquired for very minimal money. And I said, well, I've got this car if you're looking to swap. And he said, I don't know if I can quite do that. And the car, let's say it between $1,000 to $2,000, and maybe $3,000 to $4,000 for a really nice one, which this one luckily was. So he saw the value in it, and with a little bit of cash here and there, I managed to acquire said left-hand drive Diamante. As I was digging through the glove box, I'm trying to work out, like, what can I possibly do with this thing? And I'm trying to figure out why it has a number plate, as it's never been registered on the road. I'm like, why does it have a number plate? And then I found this piece of paper that had the requirements for the registration and all this sort of stuff. And it said, to be driven within the grounds of Roche Agricultural High School. And I'm thinking, that's interesting. I wonder why it would only be allowed to be driven within a school ground. So a few phone calls here and there. I managed to contact the school. I managed to contact someone who used to work at Mitsubishi when the plant shut down. And it turns out when Mitsubishi closed down in South Australia, where I live, they auctioned off absolutely everything within the building, including this said Diamante. So the Diamante was set for export. It obviously never made it there. I think it was a bit of a runaround car for the depot, a bit of a test mule. And it had only done, I think it was 20 to 30,000 miles. So it was a very low mile car. It was in almost perfect condition. It just couldn't be used or driven on the roads. From what I found out, Roche High School decided to purchase the vehicle for one of the lessons that they teach there, automotive or something like that, and that's what the students would work on. To inquire insurance, they required the car to have a number plate, and to acquire a number plate, it needs to be registered. The Motor Reg or Service SA or whatever you want to call it, they decided to issue the car with a plate that had the special requirements for the registration to be only driven within the grounds of the high school. And I thought that was a bit interesting, but anyway, that's the story with the car. I finally had it in my hands, all the paperwork I needed to register the vehicle, and I've never actually gone in to try and do it, because once I do that, then the car is somewhat associated with me, and if I'm deciding to drive it around, maybe not quite legit, it will fall back on me. So I decided I will drive this thing on a Vic Roads permit, which is a state next to me. It requires much less detail about where you're going, what time, and it's way cheaper than my state. I have only driven it a handful of times to All Japan Day or just different cars and coffee events and stuff like that. So I have driven it around, just not very much, because obviously I don't have quite the right permits and whatnot. But anyway, I have this left-hand drive under 25-year-old car. With all vehicles that I own, I have always put them on Marketplace for either a silly price or just see what people would offer me. There's this vehicle coordinator from Netflix who has seen my ad and decided to contact me and said, hey, are you interested in selling the car? And I thought, you know what, I probably wouldn't sell it, and if it would be for a silly price, as I like to do. He goes, okay, how about this? How about we hire the vehicle from you? And I said, sure, that's something I could definitely do. How much are we talking? And the price he gave me was something that I did not think would come out of his mouth. We were speaking on the phone and he said, yeah, I think it's about $230 per day to shoot the vehicle. Like, during the production. And I'm like, okay, and how long do you plan on having the vehicle for? And he replied to me, we might have it for a few months. And I'm seeing dollar signs, and he goes, okay, well, it's not quite $230 a day. It's $230 a day for production days, for days where they're shooting and using the vehicle. And then they have what's called like a retainer storage fee day, which is a much lower rate, but it still was very profitable. Mind you, I'm only a few $1,000s deep into this car, and I've made that within a couple of months of them having this vehicle. So everything from here is up. It's a car that's out of my hair. It's not parked in my driveway, and I get to see it on TV. So I thought, why not? He offered me something great, and sure enough, he organized absolutely everything. The flatbed rocked up, car went straight on, and I said goodbye to it. And then for almost a year, or maybe slightly over a year, the car was traded between Netflix and Amazon Prime and was used in a bunch of different shoots. At one stage, the production company was in Melbourne, and I had a trip planned for there. And I said, I would like to come by and have a look at the studio and stuff. And they said, sure enough, come by and we'll show you the fleet. What I saw was a few older left-hand drive vehicles and my vehicle, and I also was trying to work out how they made every other car look left-hand drive. Over in the corner, it said, this is our props and what we use. And basically what they do is they have these fake humps that they put on the left-hand side of the vehicle that's a little bit more raised than the right hump that would still be existing. And they put like a black sheet over it, and sure enough, so it looks somewhat left-hand drive, and it has a fake wheel there, and that's what they kind of use in car parks and like the background shoots. And I found it all very interesting. I learned a lot that day. So after having the car for so long, they shot many scenes in it, and I got little snippets here and there that they weren't supposed to show me, but I thought it was interesting, and the guy was very nice, and he sent me a few clips of the car, and I was all very excited. About a year goes by, and they're, editing, producing it, and all that sort of stuff, and it comes out on Netflix, and I'm watching it, and I'm getting almost to the end of the show, and I'm like, I haven't seen my car yet. Sure enough, a scene where the main characters were going from one place to the other. I saw the vehicle for about 1 second. It was a shot of the rear wheel as it drove away, and the main character was walking into a house, and that's the only clip that they used. So I've gone, interesting, did I miss something? So I've messaged the guy, I'm like, hey, I've just watched the show. I only saw the back wheel for about 1 second. And he goes, yeah, the director decided to cut the scenes that the car was used in, and that's all that the car's in, unfortunately. And I'm like, okay, that's amazing. So you've paid me, I think I'm up to about $15,000 worth of hire fees. And they used the car for 1 second. And then after that, it got moved to Amazon Prime, and I've never seen that production. I don't know if it ever went to air or if it ever got released. I might have to do some digging to see if I can find some footage of that too. Yeah, I have it back, and it's sitting in storage, and it's almost 25 years old.
When you're buying a pre-owned car, it is critical to get a professional mechanic to inspect it every time. And so the Lemon Squad is the easiest way to do that and the most affordable. Generally within 24 or 48 hours, they can get somebody on site anywhere in the country with their nationwide network of trained professional mechanics that are going to give you a ton of pictures and a full report of exactly what's going on with this car. It's a great way to avoid scams, and it's a great way to get a very clear picture of the car that you're buying, and this ammunition can make you the shrewdest negotiator of all. It also makes the drive home a whole lot easier and keeps a little bit more money in your pocket, and I know that you'll love the results from the Lemon Squad. So check them out now at the link in the description below for a special discount and to make sure that you're buying the car that you think you are.